Bob Maloney from MyMMAnews.com, and I'm visiting an old friend tonight, Jake Skelly. Jake is the owner over here at Broad Street Kickboxing. And first I want to say, brother, how are you? Great to see you. You've been such a quality contributor to the Philly MMA for a long time, and I'm happy that you're doing well over here. Before we get into anything else, tell me about Broad Street Kickboxing. I love the venue, and it's not just kickboxing. Obviously, you just got done teaching a jiu-jitsu class. You guys do it all over here.
Yeah, so right now I'm partnered up with Ray Huxton, who owns Osagami. He's a judo black belt, jiu-jitsu black belt. He's an old school Philly jiu-jitsu guy. I mean, he started jiu-jitsu in the 90s with Phil and Ricky. So, I mean, he's been around forever. We started Broad Street Kickboxing in January of 2020, right before COVID. So the first year and a half or so was just us trying to stay open with like 5 members. The past like 2 years though is where we really kind of found our groove. We've got some fighters coming up in the kickboxing ranks right now, and then we've got Jerry, obviously he's fighting MMA. But yeah, I'm really excited about what we have going here and excited to see like where we go in the next couple of years.
You brought up Jerry Valmalis, and beautiful, won his last 2 fights now. Really has really great stand-up. Talk to me a little bit about about his ceiling, his future. I call this fight an art of war cage fighting. He was super impressive and very impressive. It looks like he's getting better every day. Tell me a little bit about Jerry. What do you think?
Man, Jerry is, well, first of all, he was the first person to come through the doors, and he told us, like, yeah, I want to learn this, and I was like, you're going to fight, and he was like, no, it's not for me, but, you know, we've had him now, he's had 8 sanctioned fights, he's done like 6 or 7 smokers, so he's got a lot of experience. But Jerry is just like a reflection of the program that we have here, because Jerry is just the first of a lot of people who are going to come up through the ranks. So what we have is we have like a very systemized way that we train fighters. We start them off doing jiu-jitsu and kickboxing at the same time. And as they're learning their jiu-jitsu, we have them like doing smokers and kickboxing. So we're always going down to Virginia, we're going down to Maryland, we're going to Delaware. We're working with like Joe Stripling at Chalk D, Sebastian Ramirez at Crazy 88. We're working with Jason Farrell, Level Up down in Maryland. So we're working with the highest level striking people that you can find early on in their career. So by the time they do like 4 smokers, then we transition them over to kickboxing. They're starting to win in kickboxing. Well, around that time, they should be gearing up toward blue belt in jiu-jitsu. So they're winning jiu-jitsu competitions and they're winning striking matches. Now it's time for MMA. So we're doing a little bit more for preparing our fighters than anyone else is doing. And you could tell when Jerry fought, he looked so composed. And like, not taking anything away from Beck, because Beck looked really great for his first fight. But Jerry came in there and dominated the fight from the beginning to the end. So that's just like our system. And Jerry's the first fighter who's come up in that system, and we're gonna have a lot more.
Well, listen, you've had a lot of time to work on when you say system. You've always been, I think you've always, your mind has always been one of your strengths. It's not just, you're not just like this crazy athlete. You've always been the thinking man. What year did you start? Because you obviously trained a lot on your desk. How old were you, or what year was it? Like when you first started getting involved in combat sports?
I was 18 years old when I first got involved in MMA. I was a JV wrestler.
Jake, obviously you're talking about your system. You've been involved for a long time, like me, in the sport. Tell me a little bit about the beginning of you getting into combat sports, because your mind, for me, your mind is one of your strengths. You're not like a Nicky Rodriguez. I'm saying, 6'2", chiseled. Your mind has always helped you get through, and you've been working on that since how long? Talk to me about that.
2006, and it's funny you bring up like Nicky Rod, because Nicky Rod went to the same high school that I went to, and we wrestled on the same team, but in different years. So I was a JV wrestler. I was very not good at it. I only wrestled because it was a way to like stay out of trouble. I liked the feeling of like moving people around. I liked being rough, but I didn't really take wrestling seriously. When I graduated from high school, all my friends started getting into pills, and they started like partying way too hard, and I just didn't want to do that. I knew I needed a new group of friends. I went to the wrestling coach at the county college, and he was like, you can wrestle with us, but you're not good enough to actually wrestle. So you can work out with us, but you'll never see a match. I was like, shit, that sucks. So I found a pro MMA gym in Vineland. It was run by this guy named Al Buck. It's called Evo Fight Club.
Mr. Big, come on now. You were going old school. Mr. Big, shout out.
So I started training with Al Buck in 2006, and he didn't really like it there, so I found another gym called K-Paz. That was with Daniel Tavares and this guy Kevin Posnack. And I had my first MMA smoker with K-Paz. Transitioned to Dadis, ended up fighting for Dadis, coaching for Dadis, running Dadis' fight team. I did a lot. But to be honest with you, Bob, I wasn't a very good fighter. I was a 2-2 amateur. I fought in Muay Thai. I didn't do well. But you kind of brought up like, oh, you're not like a physical person. I'm not, man. I was a JV wrestler. I worked my ass off, and I had to work so hard just to keep up with all these professionals like Jackson Galka, Matt Mikowski, all those guys that I was training with. I was just busting my ass just to stay up on their level. So when it came time to like start coaching, I had all these systems that I had to use for myself. Like, oh, if you do X, Y, and Z, you'll be able to perform against these people. Well, the system that I created and like refined over the last 7 years, 'cause I've been coaching, like, head coach for 7 years, I've been able to take really good athletes, give them my system, and then they're able to perform better than I was ever able to perform. So Jerry, his record's already better than mine. You know what I mean? And that's like the goal as a coach, is not to like create a superstar and like make it to the UFC. I mean, my goal is to get to these high levels, but in reality, I'm just trying to make fighters that are better than me and take them as far as I can take them. And I'm successful at that. So.
Well, listen, following you on social media, I can see how much your classes are growing. You're doing great. That's why I said I got to go see my guy Jake before there's no room in there for me. But listen, you and I, let's talk about Philly MMA, because you and I have we're fans of the sport, and especially where Philly MMA is right now with all the guys I'm sure you've probably trained with a lot of these guys. You know them real well. You're cornering fights. You know them. They're in the UFC now. Talk to me a little bit about, isn't it great, Philly MMA right now? I mean, talk to me about a couple of fighters that you love to watch who are, representing Philly MMA right now.
I mean, if you got to talk about Andre Petrosky, because I remember seeing Andre's fights as an amateur when he was kickboxing and when he was fighting his like first and second amateur fight. And Andre could have taken the fast track. He could have had like 2 or 3 amateur fights and then went pro, and then he could have just done whatever. But no, Andre did it the right way. He had a ton of amateur fights. He's had the right coaches, and now he has all this success. And you see the same thing with Piper. Joe Piper came up the long, hard way, and now he's having all this ton of success. You see the people that put in the hard work for a long period of time, like Pat Sabatini has been training his butt off in Philadelphia forever. Now he's fighting in the UFC consistently. Sean Brady, I mean, that guy's an animal. And all the guys at Marquez, they're doing really, really well because they have a huge fight team that supports each other really, really well through everything. And I'll be honest with you, Bob, we talk about Philly MMA, I'm going to be up with them eventually. Like, it's been hard for me in the city because I've had to restart every couple of years. My first gym, Hands Up Studios, we shut it down because we lost the lease. Second gym, Blitz Athletics, I didn't really work well with the business partner, so I left. So then I came here to Ray, and Ray and I have had a great relationship ever since I've been here. It's been 3.5 years now. We're looking to expand. We're looking to open a second location. We're looking to like take over a little bit more of Philadelphia, and kind of like for me, it's me looking to cement myself as a coach, because I've trained a lot of really good fighters. Anthony Bryson, Kahim Murray. I trained Sandy Chang before she went pro. I trained a lot of these high-level people that are professionals now, and unfortunately, like, they go to other gyms, and sometimes those other coaches get the credit. But I'm here now to like build my name, build my fighters, and then really take the credit that I think I deserve.
Hey, well, listen, there's no doubt you put the work in. I can attest to that, and I think both of us have put the work in to get where we're at today. And being cage-side in Philly, you're cornering, and I'm watching fights, and it's a great thing. Check out Jake over here, Jake Smash, Jake Skelly over here, Broad Street Kickboxing, so easy to get to. It's a nice location. You got great classes back there. You got Jerry, who's a fighter on the rise. He's teaching kickboxing tonight. Jake's teaching jiu-jitsu. Jake, any shout-outs before we roll?
Got to shout out to Jerry. Got to give a shout out to Ray Huxon. Give my shout out to my man Joe Strickland down in Delaware. He's the number 4 ranked Muay Thai heavyweight in the United States right now. So yeah, just giving a shout out to the people that help me out, like Sebastian Ramirez down in Crazy 88, always putting smokers for us. Jason Farrell, who's always doing stuff. Brian Crenshaw from WKA, he's always putting on events for the people to come up. And I just want to give a shout out to all my students who are training here. We don't have air conditioning, man. It's like 95 degrees, 100 degrees in there.
Hey, that's the way it's supposed to be. Listen, like wrestling back in high school, you went into the auxiliary gym. The heat was on, in the middle of summer. That's how it is, man. Loosen up those limbs. Jake, always a pleasure. Get over here, Broad Street Kickboxing.
Appreciate it, Bob. Cool.